Well, welcome to this Sunday's Not the Sunday meeting. I had hoped that Barry might have been able to join me on the recording this week, but I think he's still trying to work out how he's going to get into Queensland. As everybody knows, he's moving to Queensland, and we wish him all the best in that move with he and Janet. We hope they settle into their life up there and everything works really well for them. I know Barry intends to go back to working, to being involved with his mediumship full time. So I wish him every best when he's up there. In the meantime, you've just got me again. That's a bit boring, isn't it? I'm going to try and break it up soon. I have to get other people involved in this, one way or the other, and hopefully the Zoom system will get working. So again, welcome. It's obviously Jim speaking again. It's the leader of the mission. I welcome those of you who come and listen to this. I hope more people do. I might break this up into sections this time so that people can return to any part they want to hear again, like the meditation. So just to start with, I'll open in prayer. Great Spirit, as we meet here, we know we do so with your love surrounding us wherever we are, that those in the spirit realms are always interested in us and maintain their love for us, that we as spiritual beings have the ability to be of service to others, that we can in these trying times send out absent healing to people. We can send out energy to try and uplift our world, energy to try and slow the spread of this dreadful disease. While doing that, we may actually bring light into places that hasn't seen it for a while. And we know, work with your love and your energy to help bring about change in our world. And as we meet here, we know wherever we are, Spirit will be with us. Our loved ones will draw near because we are taking part in this service. And however it's done, there'll be a light around everyone. So do relax, knowing you're loved from Spirit. Amen. And again, do relax and just enjoy what comes along. I do have a meditation lined up, and then we'll have the talk. And this week, the little exercise I do, I'll explain at the end. Thank you. Well, it's now time for our meditation. So just relax, start to wriggle out any discomfort, make yourself comfortable in your chair, and take a few deep breaths. And as you do, think of spirit, think of light, think of energy, and just draw that love into you. Wrap it round anything that's bothering you, and then breathe it out. Do that a few times, just settling yourself, letting your mind become steady, letting your mind become free. And then we'll start the meditation. Just allow your mind to still. Allow your mind to clear. And let your breathing become more steady. And then let it become deeper and more peaceful. And focus on allowing yourself to let go of your physical world and to draw yourself to the spiritual center of yourself, the light within. And feel that light just becoming stronger. Feel it filling yourself, bringing you peace. And allow yourself to think upwards towards Spirit. And feel a beautiful light flowing down, a clear light which wraps itself around you as if you're in a cocoon of peace and healing energy. And just Allow yourself to sense and feel that love that begins to fill you. A love that takes away the problems you've got for a while. Allows you to forget your troubles. Allows you to forget any pain you have. And let that light and that beautiful energy fill you entirely. Allowing it to go down to the bottom of your feet, to your toes, filling the bloodstream, every cell of your body, down to your fingers, up into your head. And allow that light to bring you healing wherever you need it. Just take a moment to allow yourself to sense and feel that beautiful, beautiful energy. And then allow yourself to feel that light rising up to the top of your head and feel yourself connecting to Spirit, still surrounded by that beautiful light. And place anybody you know that needs healing into this energy, this love. And allow and see that energy travelling around our world. And then, because we have such a general problem around us, as I've done every week, I'd like you to think a place of beauty. Focus on one of the fountains I've had pictures of every week. Maybe a fountain you know. In Adelaide we have the one in Victoria Square. There are beautiful fountains everywhere that you can watch every day and see the rainbows of light as the water flows up into the sun. I know these always bring us peace and they bring us love. And once again, when you think of that fountain, think of it full of this light that you've got wrapped around you, this peace and this energy of Spirit. And see that light expanding upwards. See how strong the energy is. This is our third week of this meditation. And just sense the light flowing up. See how much of that energy is still there. You may be choosing a fountain in another city or even another country. And as you do and you focus on it, maybe you can get others to use this meditation and focus again. Every time we do, we extend the height and the range of that fountain as the light of Spirit, the healing and the energy expands out beyond the confines of our city even. And you'll find that every one of these centers of power is connected. If you take yourself up in your mind and you look down, you'll see these fountains around our world. And you'll see direct energy lines linking them, carrying more and more of this beautiful healing energy and this love from Spirit out. And ask that that helps us in our world to minimize the spread of this virus, but also to bring peace to everybody in our world. A time when everybody is so constrained in what they do. Just allow that energy to reach everybody. Maybe uplift people, maybe change them so that they become more aware of other people, of their own spiritual essence. Allow that light to reach everywhere and see those fountains growing. You can use a meditation like this every day to send light to your own fountain. And you'll see, as you do, you could sense and douse and know that power's there. us in this work. And just send out and keep sending. It doesn't take many minutes. It doesn't take a lot of effort. It just takes time for us to do this on a regular basis, especially at this time. And then start to let that energy just drift away from you. And just draw yourself slowly back and slowly back until you find yourself on your chair again. You feel at peace and just let yourself be back, sensing that link still there, the love of spirit flowing around you. And take a moment to just enjoy that. And know that the loved ones in the spirit realms will be with you. And thank you. Well, it's time for the talk, and this was the bit I'd hoped Barry would have been able to help us with, but as we said, he has to have priorities elsewhere at the moment. And I'm going to take this one completely, as they say, an inspirational talk is one where you don't have anything written down. So I'm going to rely on inspiration, try to guide me through. Unfortunately, inspiration can always be overridden by my own subconscious, my own thoughts, my own ideas, because I'm not going to attempt to channel or to do trance. That's a very different process. And channeling can be very heavily affected by our subconscious. And even deep trance can show the impact of your own thoughts if they're held very strongly. That's another story, and one which I'm writing about at the moment, the mind of the medium and subconscious, the other part of us, the part of us that impacts on what we do. Spiritualism doesn't have a Bible. We do have an informal gospel people tend to refer to, which are the writings of Dayton Moses, spirit teaching, spirit identity. They're worth a read, but again, read it with discernment. There's some very interesting material in that. But the basis of spiritualism are the 7 principles. It's often said they were given by Emma Harding Britten in a talk at Cleveland Hall, but that isn't right. The principles appeared over a number of years, and I think some of them were actually in other versions of the principles in other places. And Emma gathered them as well as coming up with ideas of her own through her inspiration from spirit. They weren't formalised and finalised until a meeting in Oldham, and the first version of the 7 principles were assembled. They were given in different parts. There was a bit given at Cleveland Hall, a bit given elsewhere, and it's important to understand the real history of spiritualism and the truth behind it. There are 7 principles that, well, I'll start with them. Many people, we don't talk a lot about them at the mission. We don't read them every week. We just leave them there for people to see. But I'll do it this way today. The first is the fatherhood of God. I'll honestly say, yes, they are old-fashioned Victorian principles expressed in a very old-fashioned way. It's very hard actually to change the principles without altering the meaning of them. The fatherhood was a very different role at that time. It wasn't necessarily a role which was particularly caring. It was often, in Victorian times, something forbidding. We don't see the fatherhood of God as being that now. We see him as a God of love. On the other hand, in America, that same principle is called the infinite intelligence. We believe in the infinite intelligence, and one that doesn't necessarily have any particular emotional feelings. It is just there and exists. Current times, when I look around the world, I wonder, do we really have a caring God, or did God just create the universe and we are actually an accidental byproduct of evolution? And we only now touch on God's consciousness because we exist, and because we had the light of spirit within us, we were able to create our own immortality through the continuation of life after death. And it's only that that's drawn attention to us for them. But sometimes when I look at it, there doesn't seem any rhyme or reason to the things that go on, and I can't actually accept a man who created 55 billion planets would have a lot of time to have a grand plan just for us. I think we often, as ever with mankind, when everything moved round the world, we now still think God moves round us rather than us on the edges of God. So it's a complex one that we accept in fact a divinity, a divine presence that exists and interpenetrates every part of our universe. The second principle is the brotherhood of man. It's a very important principle because it fitted in very much to the early days. Brotherhood of man is accepting everybody as equal, regardless of colour, race, education, colour of skin, sex. It just accepts everybody as being part of the spirit world, all equal to each other. No better, no worse. Just different in ourselves because we were born differently and we carry different elements of DNA, bringing the combination of the histories and memories of different parents and different people to us, but all linking back to the very first evolved human being. That we should actually accept that brotherhood and remember it every time we want to think badly about a group of people. Just think it is not them, they are all spirit. They will all go back to the spirit world. We are likely to meet them again in another place, in the rainbow of mankind, in the spirit realms. It's a very important point because we always tend to forget that brotherhood. And spiritualism, when it started, was very heavily involved with the emancipation of slaves and with the movement to get rights of voting for women. Women's rights and anti-slavery was a major part of the group of people who formed spiritualism. 3, and I'm using the oldest words, the ones I've chosen to use at the mission: communion with spirits as ministering angels. We don't confuse angels and spirit. We don't confuse the role of angels with us. We say we can communicate with spirit and they are the ones who help us, and they act as our ministering angels, maybe our guardian angel. We don't then get confused about the role of the angelic realms and their existence or importance, because they come from other religions. I kind of think maybe if God created the world all that time ago and had nothing else around him, maybe the angels were the first form of life that he created to communicate with. 4, the continuous existence of the human soul. By the communion with spirits of your loved ones, spiritualism proves the continuous existence of the human soul. Every time a medium gives enough proof in a message that they are in contact with your loved one and that you can accept that, then we prove the continuous existence of the human soul. It's why to us in spiritualism mediumship is so important. And mediumship is only that act of communicating with the loved ones in spirit, with people in the spirit realms. It's not psychic, it's not picking up from your energy. It is, mediumship is about that contact with spirit and the proof of survival. 4. Now, what was number 4? Number 5, personal responsibility. Yes, when we get to this one, people will often start talking, they'll talk about mankind's free will. We should always remember that mankind's free will is always governed by their personal responsibility to do the right things in accordance with these principles. It's very hard. We live a physical life in a physical world. We have temptations, we have fear, we have many things that govern our actions. At the moment it's hard to fathom why people are gathering in open-air markets or still going to the beaches and ignoring the need to keep socially distant apart from the minimum we do. As a result, thoughtlessly, if you look at what's occurring in the rest of the world, there are likely to be more people catch the virus than they should do. And in that, there will be people dying that maybe shouldn't, and there will be people grieving. It's a good example of using your personal responsibility to override free will when things are necessary. I admit it's not easy. We all have things that go wrong in our life and things we do which we may regret retrospectively. We may be very happy we did it. We exercised our free will and went in a totally different direction. It's just one of those things to remember, that whatever you do or fail to do, you have personal responsibility for the results of those actions, the good, the bad, and also the results of inactions. If you fail to do something that may, and you're aware of it, you may decide you're going to turn your back on the situation. You're not going to act, and that causes pain. When I get there, it takes me to number 6, compensation and retribution hereafter for all the good or evil deeds done here. Now, spiritualism isn't about karma. It isn't about coming back in another life. We don't accept the precepts of reincarnation because they're not proven. And we always believe that there is a choice to be made in the spirit realms of what you do. You may choose to stay there and help others as a guide. So we don't see this the same way as others. We don't see a hell. What we see is that when we get back on that side, we have to go through a life review. You'll have a chance to rest, as I'll agree with a wonderful picture by a lady called Ethel La Rossignol about the Spirit House, a place where when you go back you get to rest before you face this. And during that time, when you are doing a life review, you'll receive Spirit's help. But you will experience both the good and the bad impacts of what you did in life. It's a good reason for actually trying to behave better, even though it's not the easiest thing to do, because I have given a private reading where somebody came through and said there may be no hell, but I may as well have been in hell as I went through that review, as I went through that time, before I'm now able to come out and try retrospectively maybe to take a better interest in the loved ones I didn't deal with properly. And then after 6 we come to number 7, a path of eternal progress open to every human soul that wills to tread it by the path of eternal good. I think that's saying that nobody is left behind. Spirit will always leave us an opportunity to progress when we've crossed over to the other side and to find a way to make that progress. And it may be that the progress even takes us somewhere else. One thing I will say about St. Moses, as his guide Imperator said, if one schoolroom didn't work, why would we send you back there? We may choose another place for you to school to be learning as a spirit. So there may be other places like the many-room mansion of God, or it could be that we just stay in the spirit realms and just progress upwards as we help other people, and we helped ourselves by Spirit in that journey. So those are our 7 principles. They're relatively easy to live with. Not very easy to live up to because we are humans. But I think one of the great things about being a spiritualist is we are not expected to be perfect. We don't have to live our life as a monk. We don't have to live our life in isolation. We don't have to pretend we're anything other than a physical being. And the best thing we can do is do the best we can with this physical life. And remember to enjoy it, or try to enjoy it. If things are going wrong, remember that there are people in the spirit world who are there caring about you. And they'll always be around you to try and help and to lie and to express that in some way. Open your mind to the love that's always there for you and just enjoy what you can and make what you can of yourself in this life. But always remember, one of Spirit's coin is an act of service to others. So always remember, treat each other as well and as best you can, and ignore our differences. And I thank you for that, and I hope you enjoyed the talk. Well, we're coming to the end now, so I hope you've enjoyed today's non-meeting. Obviously I can't do a collection. Oh well. I'd like to just again say, for many years we've had the fortune of having Barry coming regularly to us. I know that when he's in Queensland he will be coming back, and he will come and visit us, and I'm sure you'll all join me in wishing them both the best of luck and the joy of their time in Queensland. I will be putting up on the post after this, like I did last week, some more things. There'll be pictures of flowers, so choose one of the flower pictures and send me a message and I'll try and do a reading. I apologise, I'm getting a bit behind on these. Last week seemed to just go a bit pear-shaped. I don't know why. It's particularly difficult. I think I'm suffering the impact. People should remember with my detached retina. It was kind of 8 months where I was in semi-social isolation because I couldn't drive, and now I've had it extended enforceably when I was actually at a point where I could drive again. So I'm beginning to feel like the walls are enclosing me. Maybe at one stage I won't want to come out of the doors and you'll have to come here to see me, or not see me. So thanks, and do pick a flower, and do keep yourself safe, look after yourself, and be careful this week. And remember to find things that amuse you, to break up the day. Do something, then go and do something different. Change what you do, change up. Keep yourself doing different things to keep yourself happy. Have a read. Watch YouTube, find an old program, make yourself laugh, make yourself listen to beautiful music. Take time to meditate, send love out to others. Go and stand in the garden. If you've only got a small courtyard, go and sit out there for a minute, especially when it's sunny, and just draw that energy into you. Just take time to look after yourselves and your families and your loved ones. And if you know people who are on their own, find some way to make contact with them and see that they're okay. And now I'll close in prayer. Great Spirit, as we go through these times, we know that your love surrounds us. We know that if we sit peacefully, we can be at one with you, and we can be in your peace and your love. And do, Great Spirit, help us keep this world safe. Amen.